Welcome to the Cantina Chatter podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back. I'm Victoria, your host here on the Cantina Chatter podcast, your resource for Star Wars, new and retro toys, pop culture, and randomness from the 80s and 90s. All right, once again on the Cantina Chatter podcast, two people that have been on the show before. I'm really excited to have both of them. We've never discussed toys at length, the three of us together, so it's super awesome to have Shiz. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on again.
Thanks for coming on. And Tim from Collect Jurassic.
Hey, back in the Cantina.
Yeah, back in the Cantina. It's been probably close to a year since you were on this show. Is that about right?
That's right, and we've kind of done our own thing in the meantime.
Yeah, over on Collect Jurassic World, the Jurassic podcast for all things Jurassic toys, news, and information. So, Shiz, I think the last time I had you on was we were doing our Batman 89 retrospective. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was fun. God, we got into some obscurity on that one.
As we always do.
Right.
Yeah, that was good. It's awesome remembering that amazing movie from, way back when. And yeah, so on that note, we may as well start off with Spin Master Batman. So basically for this episode, we're going to be talking all of the latest toys that are starting to hit shelves at different retailers, Target, Walmart, for 2020. There's some really cool stuff that's hitting, some brand new stuff that hasn't really been in the limelight for a while, like, Batman, for example, Alien, and some other really cool stuff. So let's go ahead and kick it off with Batman. So, Shiz, Spin Master acquired the license for Batman from Mattel last year. Is that correct?
Yeah, they Spin Master got the more like props and kid toys, and then the more kid basic figures, whereas McFarlane picked up the collector license, you would say. So they're kind of splitting it. That's why I think they ended up kind of on the shelves at the same time, probably by no coincidence, of course. But it's interesting to see what each company has done. I think that each one is succeeded in some ways, and then also kind of backtracked again, with what people are kind of hoping for with DC figures, and I mean, like I said, that both of them have good merits, but I think that we need to see more. DC's a weird thing. It's a weird transitional time right now for everything. DC toys, movies, cartoons, and they need to get back in the 90s heyday again with DC.
Yeah, they totally do. And I think this is a good start. A 3 3/4 inch line from Spin Master that is cohesive, that is very reminiscent of the stuff we got in the 90s, where you have a good assortment of Batman in quite a few different colors. There's gold Batman, there's blue Batman, there's gray Batman, there's black Batman, and you got the few vehicles like the Batmobile. You've got the Cycle. You got couple of odds and ends like the multi packs of different figures. So. I think this is definitely a good step in this direction. It's really cool to see, in the year 2020, that 3 3/4 inch or 4 inch is still something that is a thing in stores.
You mentioned all the colors, and I think that's the first thing that jumped off at me when I was walking by. I always pick up the Batman figures that have been out in the interim, just look at them, because I collected the animated series figures. I had a ton when I was a kid, and what I always liked about them was that it was this is the one suit they made, and they repainted it 50 times. It was the white ones, the Arctic, the yellow ones, the scuba one. I always thought that was kind of cool. Like my Batcave as a kid had them all set up as Iron Man suits, but instead they were Batman suits. So when I walked by and saw the new Spin Master ones on the shelf, that's the first thing that grabbed me was like, oh, there's a gold one, there's a blue one, there's a black one. Like that to me instantly spoke to me, and I was instantly tempted and eventually gave in.
Yeah, no, it's super cool to see it. And I think the last time I want to say they did 4-inch and, these different colors is maybe the Dark Knight. I know the Dark Knight had like a 4-inch line, and there were different like Batman, not quite to the extreme that, we had in the 90s, but I always thought that was pretty neat. I mean, when you're a kid, I think I always was after, just regular Batman, and it was kind of frustrating sometimes when you go looking for regular Batman, you couldn't find him. But in my head canon, it also made sense. Like, of course he's Batman. Why wouldn't he have an Arctic suit and a jungle suit and a desert suit and all that other stuff?
The jungle suit, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and the main Batman was always like the coolest Batman, so of course he was hard to find. But I mean, the colored ones were a lot of fun too, and I think that's what I see about this smaller line is like it's got potential. We've seen like, I don't know, as far as the Batmans themselves go, like 6 or 7, I think we know of that are coming out. But I mean, who even knows how crazy they'll go with repaints and stuff. I'm already kind of noticing between a couple of figures I have, like they reuse certain molds in certain parts. So they're really clever with sort of the tooling, but I'm sure they're going to go crazy and just make a ton of different versions.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that for me, the articulation is a little bit lacking. I would have liked to have seen something more Fortnite-ish, with the whole line, and then like building like a bat cave or alleyway, you know what I mean, like adding to that. But I think if they get to that, like, because like you said, they started off with there's a Batmobile and it turns into a bat boat, so that's pretty cool. And they got quite a bit of villains, they got lots of like characters on the way. So as long as they just keep going with it and don't stop, like all of a sudden like, oh okay, now we're done, or it's just all Batman or all Superman again. I think they're starting off to something good.
Yeah, and it's really cool that they do have, also other DC characters. Like, you mentioned like the Batman villains and Robin and Nightwing and all that, but there's also like Superman. I saw him on the shelf today at Target, and it is really cool to see those other characters making an appearance as well.
And there's a lot of villains already, like a lot. It's not like they're trickling them out. There's already like 4 or 5.
Yeah, there's quite a few. What do you guys think of the mystery pack-ins that these figures come with?
That's, I think, honestly, kind of missed the boat for me. I feel like mystery and, that element of play for kids is kind of ending, or it's on its way out. And I don't know if it fits with a Batman figure line. That's the one thing. I've heard mixed stuff. And I myself haven't actually checked out the figures yet, but that's just from going off of what people have written in saying and everything. So, and they're not detailed. They're not painted or anything. They're usually like a solid color is what I'm seeing, what I'm told. But I would have liked to have seen maybe something different, maybe just weapons in general. I see it for kids kind of being a good jumping on point, but I don't know how much longer that would go. When they keep doing waves and waves. So
counterpoint, I actually think it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, I don't know if it's for me or if it's for kids or who exactly it's aimed at, but I think the idea of it, because when I saw the figures when they were first announced and they had the packaging art with the mystery accessories, I was like, oh, it's just going to be a random grab bag of random things. But it's actually pretty meticulous the way it works, where like you can have a figure and you can open it up and it could come with 2 different sets of accessories, and some of the accessories are ultra rare and some of them are just rare, and that's why they're different colors. And it totally reminds me of like the gamification of like loot drops in video games. Like you're always trying to get like I know Victoria opened a figure and had the ultra rare mask already, and I was like, oh, you got the mask. Like that to me is kind of cool. It kind of energizes the reason that you would get these mysteries. Like I have the gold Batman right now in the package. I didn't even want to get him, but I'm like, oh, he probably has cool accessories. So to me, that's like a little bit more of a reason to explore some of the figures you might not have bought, because they do have these cool accessories, and you can kind of get this ultra rare bat suit, sort of like build a figure but with accessories, and a totally random chance at it too. So I'm sure the real crazy collectors out there will buy the same figure over and over again until they get the loot drop they want. But I don't know, it's kind of genius. I mean, it could be totally fall flat and be lost on people, but as soon as I open up the little insert inside, you know what I'm talking about, Victoria? Like, I was like, oh, this is how this works. This is interesting. Okay. That really spoke to me.
It is interesting. And, the little pamphlet that comes in there, like, it tells you, like, I looked at it at first and I was like, wait, this is just kind of confusing. It's kind of weird. But then I started, like, looking at it a little more carefully. And, what it is certain figures to begin with, like the Gold Batman, are already, supposed to be rare. But then the accessories, they do have, like, they're on a scale. Like, some of them are indicated as being rare and some are indicated as being super rare. So, it is a bit of a mystery as to what's going to, be in your package. But there's a few accessories in each package. I think there's 3 of them. Mm-hmm. And once you open them up, you see what you get. Then you get the pamphlet and you can compare and see, oh, I got the rare one. Oh, I got this. I got that. And, like you said, I think, maybe for an adult collector like me, it isn't the most important thing, but it is kind of fun that they're trying something a little bit different and, giving people that sort of mystery aspect in order to entice them to, perhaps buy, even the same figures over and over. And
the packaging design's really cool too, because it's like a locker you open up with 3 little doors that you punch out. And then the reverse side of it's like a collector card. So they used kind of like every part of the Buffalo here to make this like a cool experience when you unbox it. I like it.
That's cool. I'm glad, like in utilizing the packaging. Not a lot of companies these days do that. It's just like, here's the packaging and you instantly throw it away. I like when they incorporate something fun to it. Something you can cut out or fold up, like you were saying. So
yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And there's like a mission, right, for each figure. Like, depending on what card you get, that's the mission that you're supposedly supposed to play on.
I guess that part was a little lost on me. I was like, okay, I think I have sewers or something, and I think it was more just to maybe categorize the accessories you can get, but they made a big deal about like, choose your mission. What's your mission? So maybe that's up for the imagination inside all of us to figure out.
Right on. I think the figures, they're fun. I'm definitely interested in getting some more of them. I do have the gold one. I haven't opened that one. I have Killer Croc. I have, just the standard gray and black Batman. So Target has an exclusive, like, all black Batman. And, I think they're pretty fun. I agree with Toy Shiz. I think the articulation is a little bit lacking on them. I think one of the issues that I had was on one of the shoulders, it was really tight of a joint. It's not too bad. I think these cost $8 at Walmart and $8, and then I think they were like $9.99 at Target.
$8.
And that's not a bad price point for those. It's good for kids, and like you said, if you need to buy multiple things to kind of get all the rare stuff, that's a feasible price.
Yeah.
It's not like 15, 20 where some things these days are, and you're just like, what? Yeah. No, I'm not buying more than one of these.
It's not
and
bad.
The Batmobile's $20, like that's pretty cheap. I don't know how much the Batmobiles were when we were kids, but it felt like they were a little more unattainable than just a $20 vehicle.
They were usually around that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
this one is,
maybe my parents were just being stingy. I don't know.
I mean, at the same time, I haven't bought this new Batmobile. I probably will at some point, but when you look at it, it's kind of like the wheels are hollow. Like, there's like half of the wheels and even like, it's like a cutout. And I mean,
it's very chintzy looking. Unfortunately, like, it looks cool, but once you pick it up, it's very light. Yeah.
But, I still contend that it's cool to have, a cohesive 4-inch line, that has, like, vehicles and has, like, wide variety of figures. And because that's not really something we see a whole lot of these days, not even with Star Wars, sadly. So it's cool that Spin Master is trying it with Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars is a lot of cardboard these days, especially with their play sets and stuff. So, I hope that they keep it plastic, with whatever Spin Master. We'll know at Toy Fair. That's exciting. I can't wait to see, what all the companies show off and everything else.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe a Bat Cave.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten a chance to check out, either of you, the McFarlane Batman figures yet?
I have. I've actually. I looked at all of them. And they're like, in the last review that I did after I finished them off. They have a lot of great things going. They're definitely that step above what DC Multiverse gradually became, when they started to kind of go downhill. So they did it well on that, but they really have to work on scaling. All this stuff is totally out of whack with one another, and that's the thing that I look
interesting.
for. Yeah, it primarily has to do a lot with 3D rendering, and maybe they ran out of time or something like that where they couldn't pinpoint it exactly. But I would say moving forward, wave 2, 3, whatever else, that's probably one of the main areas I need to focus on. I'm okay with most of the articulation because I like to pose them on my shelf and we're good. I don't take a dozen thousand pictures and put them into dioramas and stuff like that. And it's just not my thing. I know a lot of people like that, but I would say they're on a good track for what they've done for Wave 1.
Yeah, I haven't picked any up yet. I have seen some of them, in the stores, and like McFarlane for me has always been like not really a company I've invested all that much in because I've always found the figures to be kind of problematic. And I mean, I do have several of their figures. I think on some of them they do a really good job with sculpting, but then when they paint them, they kind of look a little weird sometimes. And the same with the QC, like a lot of their articulation hasn't been updated in like a while, so they're still kind of like dealing with joints and stuff that not even like Hasbro has on their Legends and Black Series. So I was a little nervous about them. They look good, but I haven't gotten them out of the package yet to really test that out.
Yeah, I was actually impressed with the paint applications when I was kind of flipping through them in store, just because I know a lot of the McFarlane toys I've seen before, it's very detailed, and sometimes those details get a little muddy when you're talking about a mass-produced figure, but I was really impressed. I mean, the ones that I really looked at and stared at straight in the face, me and Victoria, I'm a little compulsive about that stuff, but I was really impressed. I mean, as far as what it looks like in the package, it seems like they have a lot of crisp detail on them. Granted, they are animated characters, so it's easier to pull off, but I liked what I saw.
Nice. Yeah. Toy Shiz, anything to add to that point?
Yeah, so I'm looking at it on my shelf right now. The animated ones, I think, like especially the Batman and the Superman, are of like my favorite ones, just because I feel like the DC collectibles ones, which I don't know why I didn't go after them, but I never collected those. I have all the Kenner animated up through Mattel's Justice League Unlimited and everything because I love those things, and they were 5 points of articulation mostly. When you put too much articulation on the animated type Bruce Timm designs, they look wonky, and it's just because you need those edges to make it conform better to the cartoon style. These ones actually achieve it while still having some articulation, but like you said, Victoria, the articulation kind of varies between each figure, and the animated ones have these weird ratcheted elbows to them, and you can see it. Like if you move the shoulder in, you'll see it on the corner of the elbow. So you see like little divots. That's the kind of stuff where I'm like, this you can do this better. You know what I mean? Like it's too noticeable. But the details are there, and overall, I would just say that I want to see what they're going to do for the later waves. This is only wave 1. I know a lot of people freaked out. Like, oh my God, like what are they doing? And I'm like, well, they used to make Spawn figures.
That's the internet's one to do.
Yeah.
I have a question. So when they get the license, do they get the license to make any and all past Batman movies, or is it like conform to the comics, or like how does that work? What I was told is that McFarlane wanted to do everything and anything DC, and they apparently, and this is all hearsay. This is it's could be anything and everything, but they were like, okay, and then but if you see this first wave, a lot of it is it's the newer, you got Batman 1000, Superman 1000. So it's not necessarily like classic stuff. It's closer to classic than what Multiverse, the Mattel Multiverse was doing. But it still seems like you're doing the, what Warner Brothers is trying to push right now with their newer books and everything else. So yeah, the contemporary stuff, sure.
Exactly. So I want to see. Just like DC's, it's a weird thing because DC Universe Classics was so perfect. Like you got the characters that you wanted, you got the looks that you wanted, and the articulation is it's old now, but they still look good. They display well. And it's weird because when people are saying, well, what do you want from McFarlane? I'm like, well, I want him to do the Batman Who Laughs, which, of course, they did because he likes doing dark stuff and weird stuff. But I still want to see, like, classic. The Rebirth, it just doesn't do anything for me, with the costumes.
I agree.
It really doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I guess it's an okay start. I mean, they have an animated series, Batman, which is cool to see, but I don't really know how I feel about that figure. Just proportionately, it looks a little weird. But I want to see, more of the stuff we like talking about, like the movie Batmans and, the classic comic-y, Batman, stuff like that. So hopefully at some point we'll see that.
Did you get the Mezco Batman that just went up, was it last week, for... The Tim Burton Batman?
I had plans on getting it. I was at work when it went up, and I wasn't able to sneak away, like, to do it. By the time I got to my phone and was able to get it on a break, like, I had to go to the wait list. So
yeah, it looks fantastic. It's just a little pricey. When that was unfortunate, I was like, oof, that's a steep price for that Batman.
It is, but like the way I see it, it's like the Michael Keaton Batman. To me, that's Batman. It's like my Batman, so it's like I had to. I'm on the wait list. If that doesn't pan out, that's directly through Mezco. If that doesn't pan out, I'm sure I'll find a way to get it, somehow or another. But hopefully that pans out because I really want that, and
I'm sure McFarlane will do something with that. I feel like that's probably right around the corner.
That'd be really cool. And
so you're telling me there's a chance that we're going to get Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, right?
Oh, you know what? For as bad as that movie was, that design was pretty good.
It was.
It's great.
I still have those Hasbro figures, and they still hold up pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Poison Ivy will get Uma Thurman going too, and Tommy Lee Jones. And
Yeah. I'd be totally down with any of those. And these McFarlanes are 7-inch, is that correct?
Yeah, they're 7-inch, but they're big figures. Like when you put them up to, like, let's say a Marvel Legends or a Black Series, Star Wars, something like that, like they are quite large. And it's kind of funny. You look at them and then, as standalones, and when you put them up next to something else, you're like, dang, this is... But they typically do that. They're like the NECA in terms of, like, 7-inch scale. But they're just big, meaty figures that he's got going on.
Yeah, they are. They're heavy, too, from what I felt seeing them on the shelf. Like, they're pretty hefty, for sure.
Yeah. And he did a vehicle, he did the Bat Raptor, and it honestly, like, the Batman is okay that they did. It's a classic-ish looking Batman, but you put the two together and it reminds me of Kenner's stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird design Batmobile thing, and he lays on his stomach. It's from the comic books, but it was pure, like, nostalgia for me. I was like, oh, this is exactly what Kenner, would have done, and it's cool.
Yeah. Is that thing pretty hefty?
It is, yeah. It's heavy because the tires are, like, the heaviest part. They're big, huge rubber tires, and
cool.
A lot of detail. The designer, I actually spoke with him, and I go, how many bat symbols do you, like, every little thing has, like, a bat symbol-ish kind of thing to it, and I was like, that is cool, because Batman would do that. Like, the tires have bats, the computer system have little bat-shaped things on it, and it's a pretty great vehicle. So
nice,
cool,
very nice. All right, so let's go ahead and move into Lannard. So Lannard has been doing some interesting stuff in recent years. So they're famous for making the court figures, and those have been around for a long time. And a few years back, they did the Kong Skull Island toy line, and some really cool stuff at really affordable prices. They did the Jumanji figures last year, and a couple years back they did Primal Clash, which is like the prehistoric, like, human mashup set in the future or something weird. And, it's all like
whatever the story was.
Whatever the story was.
Dinosaurs, humans, it's all good. All good.
Yeah.
And Rampage.
And they did Rampage. That's true. They did Rampage.
Yeah.
And mostly stuff that's been pretty well received, and very affordable price points as well. And I think that's been the most surprising thing, because a lot of the things they make have been pretty good quality. Like I do have that Kong figure that's like 20 inches tall or something, and I love it. I mean, even now it's a really cool display piece.
Yeah, that's gorgeous figure.
It is. Some of their things have been, a little lackluster in terms of, product itself, but, a lot of it's been really great. And like I said, the price point, and I was really impressed last year with all the Jumanji stuff, because, we talk about all these toys, like finding like quality, like articulated animal toys that do stuff is not an easy thing to do. And, Lanyard was able to do it with that toy line.
Yeah. Totally. And like even the things that they kind of fall short on, you're like, well, it was $8 or it was like $10. It's hard to expect too much out of it, but what they do get accomplished is pretty impressive. And yeah, those Jumanji figures, like you said, finding like an action figure version of like a tiger or a lion or something, that doesn't look totally ridiculous. It's hard. And then they give us like a hippo and a rhino. So it was really, really cool. I kind of wish they were still making them, because I wanted like an alligator and things like that. But yeah, it would have been awesome. But they did crazy stuff. They had like a bald eagle and like a wolf. They went for it. So
there's a warthog.
Yeah, it's like I haven't seen Jumanji 2 yet, but I refuse to believe all of these animals, like a bald eagle, are in it. So, but it's funny they went for it, and they did a really good job. It's like they didn't have to do that good of a job, and they did. So much appreciated.
Yeah. No.
Oh totally. Yeah, the paint on those things are amazing. I was like, wow, they really like. This looks like a little rhino. Yeah, they all every single animal was fantastic.
Right.
The Rock,
and you expect to take it out of the box. You expect to like take it out of the box and see screw holes on the other side, but it's like it's all there. It's all good. So they didn't really like pull any bait and switches with it. It's just good stuff.
Yeah, no, but Toy Shiz is right. Those Rock figures are kind of
Yeah, I really wish they would have done, the Jack Black character and the other two from the movie.
Seems like kind of a miss.
Yeah. Because they did Jack Black, and then what did they do? They put a different one of their older figures in, like a bad guy, and I was like, well, I guess that works, but there's not much there unless you're just fighting animals, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's true. So this year, Lanyard has released Alien toys. So these are kind of a kind of a pleasant surprise. I know we've known about them for a little bit, but I mean, it's just so weird. Like, Lanyard, which we're talking about, they're kind of, I don't want to say up and coming because they've been around a long ass time, but they're like, I think they're finally getting like noticed by a lot of people now.
I hope so.
There was even a post on Instagram earlier in the week. I don't know if you guys saw it, by whoever runs the account for the Toys That Made Us, and they said, "Oh, I've never heard of this company Lanyard, but they're making alien toys." I'm like, that's kind of weird. What? You guys have not heard of Lanyard?
I was talking because the guy who created the show, he messaged me. He goes, "Have you found the new Alien toys yet?" And at that point, I was like, "No." And he goes, "I can't find them anywhere." So we were trying to help each other find them. And then they went up online, and then I got this big giant box in the mail from Walmart.
Yes.
And the Alien Queen is like my new favorite. I'm looking at it. It's on my shelf or on my desk right now.
I just opened it before this podcast just so I could talk about it.
It's awesome. I'm so excited. Just like Victoria, you were saying, like, there's not a lot of alien stuff these days. I mean, NECA does a fantastic job, but these are like Kenner. Like NECA's starting to do like old kind of Kenner stuff, but these are there's something to these,
Yeah, this queen is so cool. I mean, the actual xenomorphs are cool, but the queen is just something else because it's so hefty, and it does have like a pretty decent articulation with the arms. And the feet are even on a ball joint. Like, I'm impressed. It's huge. It's big enough to fight my Jurassic World dinosaurs, so I'm very happy with it.
Well, I have it matched up with like all my Kenner stuff, and like I have the Kenner queen that they did with the play set. And
Yeah.
I'm a nerd for all the xenomorph and stuff. I mean, you could fudge it and call it like a king alien. It's not exactly a king alien, but
yeah,
I mean, it's huge next to the queen, and that's how it's
huge.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I love how they like have gone totally crazy with the colors too, to sort of be like, "Hey kids, it's Alien. It's a rated R movie, but these are fun."
Yeah, exactly.
It's
That's
kind
a
of
good
cool.
way to get around that.
Yeah. I mean, the actual xenomorphs themselves, like the warriors, the drones, or whatever, also really cool. I would love to see them in black. I think that would be would be awesome. But it's cool to see them in these fun colors too, and kind of see the articulation on those as well as is pretty good. I mean, it's cool, especially when you put them next to the pack-in Marines they put in there, which are a little bit lacking.
Yeah, that's the only drawback. They're not a huge drawback, but they're not a good point.
It's not why you're buying them. Let's just say that.
Yeah, those humans are and I'm gonna say my little piece on this. There's no female figures in this line. There's no female figures in the Jumanji line. There's none in the Primal Clash line. There's none in the Kong line or the Rampage line. So yeah, that's one thing I think Lantern needs to look at. Even if they're putting in their repacking their corpse figures, they have a couple of female human sculpts they could throw in one of these packs, and I don't think it would really harm anything. So I think they should do that.
No, and you got Ripley. Ripley is the core antagonist, or protagonist of the Alien. They got to have a girl in there. Put an eye patch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, dudes like to collect girl figures. Come on, they know. Yeah, they know what's up.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's Ripley. So, and they do have female molds for core, and they're actually really good. But one thing I have noticed about these Alien figures is all the figures they put in, the human figures, are the kind of like the old core figures, because when they came out with the Primal Clash or Jurassic Clash, depending on where you bought the toys at, those were like their new line of core figures. They had like serious articulation on them, and they didn't bother packing them in with these, probably to keep the price down because they put the articulation with the Aliens. But the female figure is like awesome in that sort of I guess evolution of core figure. So it is a total waste to not put something like that in here.
Yeah, 21st Century Fox was probably like, okay, if you want the license, you got to focus on the aliens.
Yeah, right. Don't give us a rock figure, please.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that would.
But even the Weyland Yutani figure, astronaut-looking guy, like he works. Like he actually works with the Kenner stuff. Yeah. I haven't opened the power suit yet. I just haven't gotten to him. But when I got the Queen out finally, I was like, hot dang! Like that is awesome. And people have already started repainting him, and doing.
Oh, I have not seen that. Ooh,
okay,
that's great.
One guy, he's got one going. He sent me an update, and I was like, "Oh, let me know how that goes." But it's funny when you said about painting all these like black. Like even back in the day, Kenner had all the animal, looking xenomorphs and stuff like that. And it wasn't until the almost very last, they finally gave us an actual black xenomorph, which. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I wonder if it had to do with like, well, we could make it fun, and then as soon as you paint it black, it becomes the deadly alien for children.
Yeah. Rather make the blue gorilla alien. No, when I was a kid, I always used my brother's scorpion alien as like the go-to alien warrior, because it looked basically like an alien in the movies. It was close enough, but no, not until they came out with that 2-pack with the Predator, where we got like the actual black one, and it's still one of my favorite Kenner alien figures.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I've never seen an Alien movie from beginning to end.
Oh my God.
I've caught them intermittently here and there. I've never bought an Alien toy in my entire life. I bought this entire line. The whole thing.
That's right.
And now you have to get the Kenner ones, right? You
Maybe.
have to.
Yeah. There you go.
It's like I was saying with the Batman stuff from Sin Master. It's 4-inch scale where, you have a few figures, you have some, different things going on, you have some vehicles. And I mean, I think that's like a tried and true play pattern that's been around for, over 40 years at this point. And to see like that actually celebrated by different companies is just incredible.
So do you think that, like, let's say you have like Marvel Legends and you got McFarlane's new Batman, so like all this stuff is like $20. what is it about these Leonard aliens that is so appealing? Because I've been thinking, I'm like, is it because they're like considered like non-collectible? Like it's just like you can go out to the store and find them usually fairly easily. Is it nostalgia, or is it just like there's not a lot, like it's not overly done, it's not overly promoted, it's something fun that not a lot of people really know or care about? And for me, I think that's what it is. It's like you give me the Marvel Legends and Star Wars and everything else all day, but this hasn't been done for a while, and that's why it's so much fun.
Yeah. I gotta agree with that. I think for me, it's a combination of, like I said, I've never even like really, I'm letting you guys in on that secret. I think it's a combination for me of like price point, because, they're really cheap sets, but also like,
yes,
the fact that they're just like fun little sets. Like they're not, like you said, Toy Shiz, they're not like anything fancy. They're not like, if you're a serious adult collector, you have access to things from Bandai, from NECA, from, Figure Arts, whatever. These are just like mass marketed toys that are meant to appeal to, kids basically, and anybody can access them. And I think, offering something that is such a throwback to the 90s and offering at such a price point, I think is what really appeals to me.
Well, I hope that, kids nowadays do go after these, and then like 20 years from now, they're doing podcasts or whatever, or, whatever the technology is at that point. But they go, oh yeah, these like Leonard Company put out these like ridiculously multicolored aliens. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's kind of keeping that going. And I like that. That's really cool.
I think that's what I love about all the Lantern toys we talked about, is that the price to enter is so low that you're like, it's an easy impulse buy. It's not like it's an impulse buy to buy the entire wave, because it's not that much money compared to if you're like us and you're spending money on toys. It's like, I can own the whole wave for like $60. Sure, why not?
Right.
It makes it easy, and even though you've never seen the movie, Victoria, there's something about these that like kind of evokes the action figures that we grew up with, and that's what I think is so cool about them, because there's been plenty of alien toys all the time. I don't think they've ever stopped, but something about these, even though they're ridiculous colors and maybe they're not gorillas and praying mantises and things like that from the Kenner line, they're still just they just capture something about the toyified version of Alien that's already ridiculous because it's a rated R movie, but they just capture something about it that's perfect.
Yeah. No.
Well, if you dumb it down to just like it's space people going after like an alien infestation, and even on the tank, they wrote bugs be gone, or something like that.
Yeah, Bug Crusher.
That's how Kenner got around it, because they called them like insects, and they were like, "Oh, these aren't deadly aliens. It's like a hive, and don't worry about it." And I even saved the cardboard cutout aliens from the packages. Like I've cut the packages up and saved all that, because I'm like, the artwork is too awesome on the packages.
Exactly.
Yeah. I haven't opened any. I haven't opened any of these. I'm not. I'd like to, but it's kind of like, you look at them and it just feels like the packaging kind of completes the product. So it's like, do I want to? Do I want to get extras to open? Like, I just don't know right now.
Yeah, they're like little dioramas in there. It's very well done. There's like a little space scene and everything. They have those little cardboard eggs in there that I think are hilarious, because it almost makes you think for a second you're getting more toys than you actually get. But yeah, the packaging on these is awesome. I don't know if it's like all new original artwork or they've repurposed something from comics, but like the alien perched on the little Wayland like pillar on the left, it's very, very cool and very eye-catching, because that's what I'm always thinking about, is like, these toy companies are all competing for the kid walking by to if they're going to look at it, and these definitely do the trick.
There's nothing better on a toy than like original artwork, like with the new Power Rangers stuff. You got the really fancy looking artwork. It's very just eye-catching, and I think for me, it's more than seeing a computer graphic or a 3D layout where they're doing that now. A lot more companies you flip the box over and it's just a 3D rendered model, and I'm like, that's not as fun,
right?
It's but
how about that that Goldar packaging for the Goldar figure?
That's great. It's very eye catching. I just wish he wasn't a GameStop exclusive.
Yeah, I barely saw. I mean, I got mine a while back from online, but I barely saw him at GameStop like not too long ago for the first time.
Yeah, I want. I know we're not going to talk about Power Rangers, but they started off good. But I want more. I'm not a huge everything Power Rangers, but Mighty Morphin is like my jam because it's just what I had. But I feel like they need to. Bandai was doing it good, and then you kind of just gave us the same thing over again. We need space aliens and and things. So
we need Alpha 5. We need like a deluxe Zordon. We need like different things. We need Pudgy Pig.
Yeah, exactly. King Sphinx and Pumpkin Rapper.
Oh man, that'd be great. The Pachenko machine.
Right? Oh my god.
Oh wow. Anyway. All right.
Yeah, we could keep going.
Yeah.
I'm like, we could. This will go off on another tangent.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode waiting to happen. All right, so so let's talk a little bit about these this company Goldlock. I hadn't even heard of them before, but they have these new these robots that are available through Walmart right now. I don't know if they're available anywhere else yet. I think they're exclusive to Walmart. But they
are, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have from the Forbidden Planet, they have Robbie the Robot, and they also have the Iron Giant. And these are these pretty decent-sized robots. I have Robbie right here on the desk with me. Let's see. He's about 14 inches tall, and he's electronic. He's $20. He walks, he lights up. He's got a gizmo in the top of his head that spins in circles, and he is probably the coolest toy I've picked up in a long time.
I have not seen these on shelves yet. Everyone keeps saying
I haven't seen them either.
Yeah, they go like one guy. The store by me had them, and then I walked in. I talked to the guy, and he's like, "Oh, we put them out this morning." One guy bought them all. I'm like,
Jesus.
of course he did.
Yeah, when I was I got mine at Walmart earlier in the week, and I got both of them at the same time. But even as I was there in the toy aisle, nowadays, I don't really. I see other adult collectors, but they're usually like targeting like Hot Wheels or Star Wars or Marvel Legends, things like that. This guy was in the toy aisle at the same time as I did. After I had grabbed mine, he went to the shelf and he grabbed the last Iron Giant. He grabbed another Robbie, and so people are definitely buying these.
I think they're like what we just talked about with the Leonard aliens and things. It's an awesome price point for the amount of plastic and electronics that you get. Also, it's the Iron Giant, and then while it's not like my robot, with Robbie the Robot and everything, I can still appreciate a good science fiction robot. I mean, I know who he is, so that alone, it's just capitalizing on nostalgia, and then the older collector. I don't know if a lot of kids will be going after these, but adults are definitely going after these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what to your point, I'm a sucker for this sort of like retro sci-fi, robot alien type thing. I just think it's awesome. It's like the same thing, when they were doing those Twilight Zone toys a while back. Some of them, I was just drawn to because it's like this old school classic, like Hollywood, like B movie robot sort of design. And and this one is really cool. I mean, it's a little bit, it's a little bit better than that. I mean, it's just awesome. Like having it walk around the house. It walks just like it does in the movie, and the way it lights up, and it's just the whole thing. I love this thing. I love it, love it, love it.
I think it has a like kind of universal appeal even over Iron Giant. Like it's just got, like you said, a very classic B movie look. But I actually think that's the one that kids will kind of blindly pick up and probably be drawn to, in addition to all the adults out there hunting them down, because it just has a very classic robot feel, and everybody loves lights and walking features. So I think they were smart to kind of pick something that's so far back that it's almost like unknown in a way. So I think that was a good kind of balance out with Iron Giant.
Yeah,
that's true. I'm like, if they were to ever do more, I'm curious to see what they like a Gort figure, or just keep the robots going somehow. There's a lot that they can.
Well, like Victoria knows what I want. I want them to do the the Lost in Space movie, from I guess the 2000s. I want them to do that robot because that was like what I love that thing. And they kind of already have Robbie kind of like Lost in Space. It doesn't seem like that much of a stretch. And that awesome Easter egg someone pointed out to me on the back of like, I think, Robbie, it mentions Trendmasters because I think the toy was actually like a repurposed Trendmasters toy, and I guess they just lifted some of the copy up or something, but it literally says Trendmasters on the back of the box. And so that right there, I'm like, oh yeah, Lost in Space, do it. So that's just kind of a fun Easter egg for me. Didn't you say it was like the same toy but had a cord or something, Victoria?
Yeah, so that's what got me researching. It was the back of the box says that it's made with Trendmasters technology, and I was like, well, what does that mean? That's weird. Like Trendmasters as a company has been gone for a long time. So I started going online and kind of looking it up, and went to eBay, and I found that lo and behold, this Robbie the robot was actually created by Trendmasters back in 1999. But back then it was connected to a wire with a like a little control. You would actually control the movements and everything. So so now it's being produced by Gold Lock, but it doesn't have the wire anymore. Now it just walks on its own.
That's cool. That is that's technology right there, baby.
Yeah. Technology of a 1950s robot, 60, 70 years in the future, and bringing it to life finally.
Well, it's kind of cool to see that they're repurposing an older toy that maybe didn't get a lot of, just being out there on store shelves or people enjoying it, and they found a way to just kind of incorporate wireless even better.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
No, it's a great toy. I love everything about it. I got the Iron Giant too. I haven't opened that one yet, but I feel like Iron Giant, like I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, it's cool, but I just bought it because it's like, I wanted to get the set, and it just, like I was saying, $20 and you get a walking robot that does stuff, I think is really cool. But I kind of feel like that movie has kind of developed a little bit of a cult following in recent years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a lot of companies are actually, they got Mondo, 1000 Toys, Diamond Select. Everyone's going to have their Iron Giant this year. So it's kind of, it all fits. You're going to have a bunch of Iron Giants by the end of the year.
The music.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of curious. Oh, here we go.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. Like it just, I wasn't alive during that era, obviously, but there's something about it.
Yeah, that's classic sci-fi. That's awesome. Like that is just like perfection.
And shout out to Walmart for carrying these and the Lantern toys. I feel like they're taking chances that other stores wouldn't on stuff like this, So the fact that they're carrying alien toys that are like dirt cheap, these robots are super affordable. It's awesome. I spend more time wandering around the Walmart toy aisle looking for cool stuff than Target, obviously, because I kind of know what's going to be there. So that's really fun.
Yeah, Target. Target kind of did an anime section for, let's say, maybe the latter part of last year, and it feels to me like it may have fizzled out quicker than it came in. It just they had a bunch of cool Godzilla stuff, and they had some other Japanese / like anime type toys. But it's for the Targets that are around me, they're being repurposed with other stuff now. Like they haven't restocked or replenished anything Godzilla, and it's a shame. Whereas, like you said, Walmart is taking chances, doing cool stuff. And if you do walk around Walmart for like a good 20 minutes, you find stuff. You're like, what the heck is this? Like,
yeah, right.
What is? And even what is it called? Mega Bloks. They're doing the alien eggs.
Oh, the alien. Yeah, I found those too.
Yeah, and they got the goo inside. And you get 2 Xenos and 2 face huggers, and I'm like, I want it just for the egg.
2 per egg?
Yeah, it's
I didn't even know that.
4. There should be 4 in each egg. Yeah, and I think there's 2 different sets. I want to say.
See, I didn't even know that. I picked it up and I was like $10, and it only comes with 1 figure. But now that I know there's 2, I might have to go back and check that out. And on my Walmart, it was right next to the Lantern toys, so it was like a little kind of alien upright. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a great time for this year is going to be total 80s and 90s toys. I feel like are making a huge return. So
We need
I hope
to.
Leonard makes more aliens. Just keep making them.
Yeah, I love it. Lots of good stuff. And Walmart, Tim, you were talking about all the stuff Walmart has. They also have, it's really nothing new because I think they started carrying them last year, but the Scooby-Doo toys that they've been selling, like, those are great. I had to buy them all. Got the Mystery Machine and, again, very cheap. They're like $6, I think, for a set of 2 figures. It's like, how can you, do better than that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
Yeah, they've released, there's been a couple different waves, and there's actually like a box set too, and I think they're almost upwards of about 20 different characters for that Scooby-Doo line, but they just kind of re-release, the core Scooby-Doo mystery team, and then add a new monster to every wave.
Right. Yeah, that's true, because it was a line I think that was offered a couple years ago before they did this line, because this is the 50th anniversary line. But you're right, it is like some of them are like repackaged figures from like a couple of years ago, where Walmart also had an exclusive Scooby-Doo line, and it was, I think it was a bigger line, like you said, there were some multi-packs that had a ton of figures in them. So yeah, no, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun to see all this stuff
excited,
on the aisles.
It gets me excited, like all this kind of nostalgia, but kind of realizing a classic toy way, like really excited for what Ghostbusters is going to do if they can kind of channel all this good stuff we're talking about. It's gonna be crazy, because there's so many people out there that collected that stuff that probably don't even collect toys anymore, and I feel like all it takes is the right kind of franchise and nostalgia in your life to kind of dip back into it.
I cannot wait for that. I can't wait to see what they have. It's like what NECA did with these Target, classic cartoon turtles, where I have people that are like, hey, I don't know how to really ask this, but I don't collect toys in any way, but where do I get these Ninja Turtles? You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, I'm like, you can, and you try to walk people through it. And it's totally cool because, for the most majority of a lot of people collecting these, they haven't went after toys for years and years, but now they're like, I kind of want these. You know what I mean? Like, they're cool.
Yeah.
But the Ghostbusters,
and Toy Shiz is there to give them the gateway drug into toy collecting.
Yeah, it's all downhill after that. I just give you a taste. No.
Yeah, I really hope they do like a retro line. Like, this is Hasbro. They've done it with Marvel. They've done it with Star Wars. So I'd love to see them do like a retro line and bring back some of those classic Kenner sculpts, even if it's just like repacking the same exact figures from 30 years ago. I would love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so happy just to see Ghostbusters on the shelves again. And I don't want any of that negativity that came with the last movie. Just make ghosts and have fun with it and do slime and ectoplasm and have a good time.
I think that the toy industry has kind of figured out a couple of things about nostalgia since the last Ghostbusters movie. At least in my opinion, seeing what even my baby Jurassic World Mattel toys have kind of done. It's like I think they've kind of figured out that there's a balance that you can, obviously serve the younger generations, but you can really cash in on the classic toys too if you do it right. And I just don't think they had that figured out when they did the first line of Ghostbusters figures at all. Not the first ones, new movie is what I mean.
They just and it's unfortunate. It just looked like Mattel was just uninterested. You know what I mean? And it doesn't. A good toy line can always save a bad movie. I always say that. But the toys, I remember looking at them, I was like, the heck is this? I bought them all, but at the same time, I was like, well, now they don't have a car to fit in. They don't, they could have made the Boogeyman, and they could have made all the real Ghostbuster ones and just fit it, into that. It's Ghostbusters, here's the females now, and then here's the stuff and like you're saying, balancing,
right.
like with what Jurassic Park did.
Right.
Yeah, and then, you also had Diamond Select, kind of going at it too with their own figures, and, it's kind of like, well, which ones do I buy? It's especially if you're not like a, hardcore collector but, maybe you love Ghostbusters, and there's not a ton of toys for Ghostbusters, but, you kind of have, those two options, and it's like, well, do I pay just a little bit more and get, what Diamond Select is doing, or do I get this Mattel figure that's been repacked 3 times already?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're going to hit it so hard. I mean, with the Stranger Things stuff, I think if they play their cards right, they can hit it really hard.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they actually put out. I'm hearing good things, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed that it's going to be all good stuff. All right, so moving right along here. Are there any other toy lines you guys can think of that, along these lines of Spin Master Batman and Lantern Alien, mass-produced, inexpensive toys that you've been seeing or are aware of lately?
That's all I've been after.
I picked up a figure actually today that I never would go after the line or anything, but it was cheap and inexpensive. It's the Disney toy box figures for Marvel and stuff. And I got the Venom figure, and he was like $10, and it was like perfect. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, cool. I don't need like to spend like 30, whatever Marvel Legends is $21.
Mm-hmm.
This was like big, hefty, heavy figure, $10, perfect.
Nice. Tim, was it you that had said you'd seen some like new Pixar, like a Pixar line of figures or something?
Yeah, they were Mattel Pixar figures, very much like the Toy Story 4 figures as far as just build quality and almost scale too. And I saw those at Walmart again. Shout out to Walmart. But I haven't seen them anywhere else or even space for them. But they're really cool. The Toy Story figures themselves. Kind of going back to those, when those came on the shelves, I was very suspect of them because they were taking over my dear Jurassic World toy space on the front of the Target aisle. But I warmed up to it. I saw the movie. I bought a couple of toys for my kids, and they're very well done. They're very simple, but they're very well done and kind of solid. So these Pixar ones that we just spotted, they had Wall-E and Eva. They had Sully, Mike, Mr. Incredible, and I think that's it. I can't think of who I'm forgetting. But I picked up the Wall-E and Eva set, and they're very cool. I mean, there's not a lot to them, the Wall-E wheels around and his arms and head moves, but the Eva figure is really cool because she is on this like cool ball joint clear stand, so she can kind of sway. You can kind of pose her, and her arms actually fold into her body too, like in the movie. So I thought it was pretty nifty for like $10. It was very nifty. So, and I love Wall-E. So any new Wall-E toy, I'm gonna grab. So those were cool. I had no idea those were coming. So I hope they keep making them.
I haven't seen those yet. I've after you told me about that, I started looking, but I haven't come across those.
Yeah, you sent those over to me, and I was like, those are cool. Like. Like I said, like in talking about all these like figures, they're a nice surprise to see.
Right.
Because a lot of times companies will send you, press releases and stuff, and it's always fun to find new stuff on the shelves without being told about it.
Right. Yeah.
And people were definitely like, "What is these? Like, what scale are these? What is?" And I'm like, you got to go to the store and
figure it out for yourself. And I think they will make more because if you look at the card art for like Mr. Incredibles, it shows like the rest of them. So I feel like they're going to keep going with this and make some more. Maybe this is just the first wave, but it's cool. I mean, it's just cool that they're kind of doing like a bigger Pixar thing and not just focusing on just Toy Story, even though those toys are great and they've made so many different versions, but to see them kind of do something different.
So, other stuff that's up and coming. So recently, NECA announced a bunch of more forthcoming Ninja Turtles for their TMNT line that they have at Target. If you're lucky enough to find them at Target, very few of us seem to be. But yeah, Toy Shiz, what do you think? Because there's quite a few. I don't know if we'll call them like B characters, but like kind of more like side characters that were available in the old toy line from Playmates.
This, at least for me, I'm looking at my shelf over here. It's got like every company's 4 turtles that they've made. And after a while, and I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, I want to see mutants and new characters. It's kind of like Ghostbusters where you do the 4 core heroes, and then they'll do Shredder, maybe they'll do Bebop and Rocksteady. But we've been wanting these particular figures for years. Like even as a little kid, I remember, you watch the cartoon. The Playmates ones always were crazy, and they did a great job, but they were never like the cartoon accurate type ones. But now, going more into like they got the video game line, they got the cartoon line, they got the movie line. So everyone is like covered in terms of what you grew up with Turtles wise, it seems like, and it's fun. Yeah. But Slash is one of my favorites, from the Archie comics and the video games and everything else. So that's the one I'm after.
Yeah. No, it's neat. I mean, I've enjoyed this line quite a bit. I mean, I'm not like the biggest NECA collector. I have a good little bit of their stuff, but the turtle stuff is obviously, some of the most appealing stuff that they've done. And like you said earlier, there's people that are trying to find these that haven't really collected toys in, decades maybe. But they're just so well sculpted and, detailed, and, they really, speak to the nostalgia, and they really speak to, something that, you had, a long, long time ago. So it's cool to see it, and it's cool that they are expanding the line into these other characters, but it's almost hard for me to get excited about it because I feel like I'm probably not going to find them in stores anyway.
Yeah, the cartoon ones are always at Target. They're always hard to come by because they're kind of they're always preyed upon like the people that buy them and resell them, and it's unfortunate because it really does deter a lot of people. I'm one of those people where, I try to go to Target or Walmart, a couple times a week, and a lot of people don't have the time to do that, nor do they. Maybe they grew up in a different era where, that's how I used to go get my toy. I go with my grandparents or something like that. They just take me. But a lot of people go online now, so it's a little frustrating. I understand that if you can't get them online, you don't have the time to get them. But every time I post about the Turtles or something like that, you always get the people in the comments that go, well, I got a set for sale. Want to buy it from me? And while people go like, oh, they always say, NECA, how come you're not shipping enough? Target, how come you're not shipping enough? And then when people make comments like that, I'm like, well, that's kind of why you're not finding them, because nobody needs 3 sets of these things. Maybe 2, one for a box, one for open.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate. People go, oh, you want to buy a set from me? I'm like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah.
I kind of think too, though, with supply and scalping. I mean, there is a point as a company that you can ship a critical amount of something and kind of outrun that. But I do think these toys are just super, super, super popular. That does kind of fuel the resale market too, which, I mean, I don't collect these, but obviously anything that sort of takes the toy community by storm like these have, where everyone's talking about finding them at Target, that's always exciting for me to see, because I like stuff like this that maybe signifies to retailers like, this is a real market. Like this is not like a aisle in the back of the electronics section full of collector toys. Like this is a big moneymaker that you can stock more of and can make more readily available online. I just think that's always healthy when something does kind of explode like this, even though there's the not so great part of it of kind of attracting resellers trying to make a quick buck. It's still good that they are so popular.
Yeah. And I don't fault if people want to buy and resell. That's your own business. You can do it. But when people are legitimately going like, I can't find these, and you're like, well, I got a set. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, like you just goading people. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. I think I was recently told too that the way that it works is Target proper doesn't even stock these, like the NECA stuff. Like they have like a third party that comes in and stocks the shelves, but NECA somehow sends the stuff to Target, but then they just hold it in the warehouse, and then the third party comes in to actually stock the shelves.
Yeah, basically, and they are working on getting more like into the online aspect. They kind of sort of did it with these new Turtles. I don't think, and nothing on NECA's part either. I think it's the inner workings of Target. You're relying on them to kind of set this up and make this happen online. So
yeah.
NECA is trying. You could see it even when they go on Twitter, and they answer so many questions. I love the way they handle their social media. It's very engaging, and it keeps people up to date. This may not be what always people want to like see because it's like, well, keep checking stores. Well, I'm trying, but that's the
Right.
best is what they can
Yeah,
offer
it's communication.
yeah. And a lot of times you kind of have to say, well, Target, they're not always on top of it. They're more on top of it than Walmart. But with pre-orders and stuff, they lag. They lag sometimes with their online element.
Yeah.
Yeah, still remembering my carbonized Mandalorian that was like on back order for like 2 months before they finally canceled it.
Oh,
Oof, that sucks.
Yeah. And I know those are hitting again. I haven't found one myself, but I know I am aware through your post Toy Shiz that they're starting to hit again.
yeah.
It's just so funny because on Force Friday, the first Target I went to, the first and only Target I went to, was just completely stacked with those. And I bought one for myself, but it's one of those things where you look back on, you're like, huh, that was a lot of coveted toys right there at the moment before, I'm sure they were gone in the next 2 hours, but it's funny. That's been such a popular one.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it the night before Force Friday. I was like, cool.
Uh-huh.
I don't have to go in the store because no Targets in California were going to do anything for Force Friday. And then I went to the store in the morning just to go like, oh, let's go see what's going on. And as I'm walking in, some dude walks out with like a stack of those things. You know what I mean? I'm like, this guy. And then I go, well, at least I got it on pre-order, and they didn't ship it for like another 3 months after that. But,
Jeez, yeah.
Yeah. Did your order get canceled too?
No, it shipped, and I laughed. I posted. It was when was Force Friday? It was October, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get it. No, it was September. What? In either case, I got it like 2 days before Thanksgiving.
Oh wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
The show was well underway at that point.
Yeah.
The carbonized version is so cool, though. It's almost too cool because, the vintage collection version's coming out, the 3.75 Mandalorian. And I'm like, yeah, he's cool, but he could be carbonized and be cooler. Like, I kind of wish they did the smaller ones carbonized. It just for the Mandalorian specifically, I don't know about any of the other carbonized Black Series figures, but for the Mandalorian specifically, it kind of captured something about the show for me that I wish they did the smaller version of the figure like that, because it just looks awesome. It's not a gimmick on him. It feels legit.
Yeah.
Well, I would say come fall, for their toy offerings and everything, it's probably going to be nothing but Mandalorian and Clone Wars toys. So we'll probably get blown out of the water with new Mandalorian merchandise and the Baby Yoda.
I'm in.
Yeah, I'm good with
It's gonna
that.
make the porgs look like nothing.
Yeah.
I'm good with that too.
All right, so I guess let's talk briefly. We already talked about Ghostbusters, but is there anything else you guys are excited for, looking forward to learning coming out from Toy Fair next month?
I want a 4-door Ecto one. I want to be able to put all the ghosts, but and people are saying, well, I want a 6-inch line. I'm like, you know what? If you can give me, I don't care whatever scale you want to do.
Yeah.
As long as it builds to something, and maybe you get play set, something to display or make it fun like they used to make them back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But have vehicles and have stuff. So keep it at that 4-inch mark. I would love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Yeah, don't just make the cast again. I mean, we really need some accessories to work with here, and that's kind of what I'm saying. It's just something a little more expansive than just realizing characters and monsters. Something a little bit more to work with.
Yeah, I would say that's, I think, what Kenner capitalized. They had the firehouse. They had a place where you could. That's your base, you could put the Ecto 2 on top of the roof, and you could put the Ecto 1 inside the firehouse itself. But it was the ghosts that, to me, I think that's what they really need to have, the ones, and really capitalize. If they make the Boogeyman and Samhain and like
Fearsome Flesh,
even make them like build the ghosts, I don't even care. Like, you gotta do that.
Deep cuts.
You gotta do it. With all the nostalgia stuff, come on, you gotta do it.
I gotta say too, like, as somebody with kids, like, I would like them to do some cool role play stuff again. The stuff that came out with the last movie was a little simplistic, but
yeah.
if they made like a trap again, like I know me and my brother, that's what we were really into, was the role play stuff too. So if they could come out with some role play stuff that really channeled the original movies, or I mean, I'm assuming this new movie utilizes a lot of the same aesthetic, same art direction. So I'd love to see that stuff in addition to actual like action figures.
Yeah. I'd love to see a PKE meter. Like,
yes.
you know, they get, I bet you $10 they'll do PKE meter and goggles, you know, like you're saying, like with, I'm just thinking about the new trailers, stuff like that. Like they're going to do it right. I think I got full confidence in them.
Yeah. And, you know, and ones that are not like $300, like wasn't Mattel doing like that, you know, really high end, like prop line a few years back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff, but no, a little too expensive.
Right.
And it's great for those that want it, but I would rather them done really cool toys at retail, you know, than that stuff. But then again, the counterpoint of that would be, if they're going to do like a collector line, which, you know, you kind of hear the rumblings of that, just don't do like Peter Winston, you know, and then they're in their regular jumpsuits. And the next wave, it's like, oh, they're slimed. And then, they got Stay Puft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to do comic books, real Ghostbusters, extreme Ghostbusters. Like, you got to do it. And it will be great if they do. So.
Yeah. Got to have the hair popping up, the eyes popping out, the ears like going, you know, side to side.
Yes.
You got to have all that classic stuff.
Well, even like their leaked list, because you could go off that as much as you want, but allegedly, you know, they have something called fright features, and I see that and I go, you know what I mean? Like, ooh, what are they gonna do, you know, with that? So
as long as it's not like a QR code I have to scan with my phone, then it'll be cool.
Yeah, right. Like put your figure over, you know, put the phone over the figure, and ooh, look at that. And you're like, oh God, no, please don't do that.
Yeah, no, but I think Ghostbusters is probably the one thing I'm most excited for, you know, from Toy Fair, and but you know, also looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with Star Wars. I mean, it seems like from what they've alluded to in recent months, they've kind of held a lot of things back. Particularly
I hope so. I hope they're not just like hyping people up, you know, like if it's actually stuff they're holding back.
Yeah.
I'm just, Star Wars has become like, it's at the very bottom of when I, you know, Toy Fair for me is like, fine, you want to show me Star Wars, cool. I'm so not excited about Star Wars at the moment, and that's terrible. But
would you say that's more to do with the entertainment, or more to do with the way Hasbro's treating the toy line?
I think that, honestly, I'm thinking about it, I think Hasbro's doing the best that they can in terms of what they're given with the movies, the recent movies that just came out, you know, and everything. It just didn't work for me at the end. You know, I liked Solo and I liked Rogue One. Go to town with those, you know what I mean? But the last three movies, I'm just, I'm done with that. Can't do it anymore. They had great parts, but overall, I just can't. No, it's not Star Wars.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I still think Hasbro could have done more, but I'm guessing it's very complex with the risks they take. But it's funny because we were just looking at pictures earlier this week of Force Friday for Force Awakens. It's like an entire aisle, both sides, toasters, lamps, comforters, every action figure, every Lego, blah. It's like it's inundated with everything Star Wars. And then this year's was just like, you know, it was in my trunk basically. There was just nothing to it. It's just interesting to see how far it's fallen for. I mean, I know the movies make money, but I assume a lot of this comes down to merchandising. So that key element was missing. They had to have been able to do more, and it must have just been, I don't know,
but even
too risky.
Even that 2015 release was very tame by comparison to the prequels.
Yeah. Now, retailers for this last movie, they were like, bare minimum, please. Like, they just weren't. There wasn't the backing that they, you know, and they make the argument. They go, kids, they don't like Star Wars no more. And, you know, it's kind of become that. But then, you know, my little one comes home with a goodie bag from her school, and it says, the kid had a Star Wars birthday party, and I go, I'm so happy to see that. Like I was like overjoyed. I was like, oh my god, thank you. Children still like Star Wars. That's
still
great.
alive. It's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see from Toy Fair 2. Toy Shiz mentioned in passing, but the NECA like classic Kenner line they did with the alien, what do you call it? The white one?
Oh, the
Alien
Neomorph.
The Neomorph, and then they also did the Berserker Predator, which I got, which is the coolest thing, probably one of the coolest things I saw at Toy Fair last year, and it was just a prototype. But I'm hoping they do more with that. I know it like just launched, but I'm really hoping to see more of that stuff.
They alluded to more, so that's, and then again, like Leonard can have these aliens, and NECA could do like the actual like. And something I was telling NECA when I was talking, I was like, are you guys going to do like what Kenner did? Like, can you take a Neomorph and splice it with a crocodile? You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah.
I have high hopes. I'm like, well, I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do with that, because those are awesome toys.
I'm holding you to Alien Crocodile. That sounds awesome.
They have to do it because I need it for my NECA Batman Aliens shelf. It's from the Dark Horse. Like when I saw that, I was like, somebody's got to make that. Come on. Yeah, it's awesome looking.
Yeah. No, so hopefully it's good. Sometimes we get surprises from Toy Fair, so hopefully we're in for a few treats here and there as far as new products that we're not even aware of, we're not even thinking would be a possibility. So I guess we'll know next month.
Yeah, that's my high. Right. I hope we don't get everything spoiled like a week before, like kind of like last year. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
One company leaks and the other ones go, well, what about us? And then I'm like, no, like wait till we get there.
Yeah, save it. Yeah, it is sort of a bummer, the day and age we live in, where you're just lucky if you get there and stuff isn't already revealed. So yeah.
Well, the day one, I know that Hasbro, they'll be showing off Ghostbusters, so I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, that's my number one thing as well. I'm just chomping at the bit to see what the fright features are, what these new toys are going to be like, how much they're going to focus on classic stuff, how much they're going to focus on new stuff. So yeah, here's hoping.
Most definitely.
Here's hoping we get a new fearsome flush.
Yes. I don't even those were such classic ghosts, but I mean, I think I did a video. I'm like, just make them gross and weird. Like, put slime coming out of them and shooting slime and whatever else. Just ghosts are supposed to be, they're fun. Yeah, I mean, they're scary, but you're not scared of them.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And it should be awesome toys, and that's all I'm hoping for this coming year.
Yeah. So. Yeah, we'll know next month what the situation is, and hopefully we'll have good things to talk about in the future.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been fun. Thanks to both of you for coming on and joining in and talking about all this new stuff. I mean, we're barely in January for 2020, and there's already all this fun stuff on the shelf. So that gives me a little bit of hope and a little bit of optimism for 2020 that it's going to be a great year for toys. And like we said, Toy Fair is, right around the corner, and, hopefully we're going to get some really cool stuff. And, hopefully it's going to be a year to remember in terms of toys and collectibles.
Last year is going to be hard to beat. I'll tell you that. Like 2019 was like, everybody nailed it. Every company just had something to collect. And I think 2020 will be pretty good too.
Yeah, definitely. Starting off strong anyway.
Yeah. It's like 3 weeks in, I think I'm like $1,000 in the hole already.
And it's not even like we were talking about this earlier, with me and Tim, this isn't even stuff that we traditionally collect. I've always been hardcore into Star Wars and Jurassic, but this other stuff that we've been, giving our attention lately isn't even, it's neither of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm happy about that. It's nice to have some stuff that's a little bit different and fresh, and Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really hoping that,
Totally.
you know, we're going to get stuff from those lines too. But, you know, also these other toy lines obviously have proven to have something cool and fun and unique to offer. So I love that and hope to see more of it.
Yeah, most definitely.
Sounds like I'm going to be spending a lot of money on Ghostbusters.
I know. I'm dreading it. I'm like, oh my god, I need that. I need that. I don't really need this backpack thing, but I guess I need that.
Might as well get it all.
Yeah, collect them all. Collect them all. Well, Toy Shiz, where can our listeners go to find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, just at Toyshiz, or email me anytime, toyshiz@gmail.com. If you got any questions, or always happy to help. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
And pleasure talking with both of you.
Yeah, absolute pleasure.
Yeah, you too.
And Tim, where can our listeners go to find you online?
Same as Toy Shiz, all the above on social media at Collect Jurassic, also on YouTube. And of course, we have collectjurassic.com with our articles and kind of a go-to place for all the reviews as well. So if you're interested in just Jurassic collecting, that's everything that we cover. So, but yeah, thanks for having me as well. This has been a blast talking about non-dinosaur toys.
Yeah.
You two are the go-to, because you each have different perspectives, but you're both the best at the dinosaur community. And you know it. I know it. And everyone out there should definitely know it. God, I go every time I say, I'm like, God, I gotta get that new dinosaur. Yeah, God.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the both of you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. This has been a blast, and
Yeah, super fun.
yeah, I'm totally pumped about all this new stuff, and I can't wait to have the two of you on the show again in the future.
Yeah, we'll do one post Toy Fair. Let's do it.
There we go.
Absolutely. If you aren't already, subscribe to the place it all started, the Victoria's Cantina YouTube channel, where I review new toys and showcase retro toys from the past. You can also follow us for news and updates on Facebook by looking up Victoria's Cantina, toy photography on Instagram at Victoria's Cantina, and a constant drip of toy-related and other random and nonsensical tweets on Twitter at Vic's Cantina. If you're so inclined, we are on Patreon. Gain greater access to Victoria's Cantina by becoming a Patreon Cantina patron. For as little as $1 a month, you'll help to keep the show going and also get exclusive content such as access to a private Twitter feed, early access to toy reviews, and behind-the-scenes featurettes. And if you can't, but you still want to help us out, one of the easiest and most helpful things you can do is leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, so hit that 5-star rating and leave a note stating why you enjoy the show. It'll make us more visible on iTunes and help others to find our show. As always, I'm Victoria, and no matter where you're listening out in the galaxy, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Cantina Chatter podcast.